The question of science that once made me question my faith is the question of the genesis of it all. How we got here, how the universe got here, how it all began. And I endeavored to go in for it. Of course, science fronts the Big Bang theory as the prevailing cosmological descriptor. Not until I discovered that science can't be the ultimate arbiter of faith. Because faith deals with both the natural and the supernatural. And the supernatural cannot be defined with evidence and proof like science wants it. So it's at that point that I discovered that the genesis of it all cannot be contained in science. Yeah, thank you.
This thing of life after death, I think twice about it because literally, as you can see, this is what we are seeing. You die, it's done, you're buried. There is no other way you can see you again, no other way. But then the Bible says there is life after death. We don't know heaven, we haven't seen heaven. So at times, it can trigger some negative thoughts. And no more day-to-day activities like all problems, situations. You have a sick friend or relative, anyone. You know clearly, you know very well, if you take them to the hospital, they'll work on them and they'll be fine within a few hours. But then you as a believer, you believe that you will pray and pray till they get better, which sometimes does not work. So at a point, it's easy to slip off the track and then start questioning God, this and this. Yeah, it happens.
Okay, there is this thing in science where they say you must have faith with evidence, which in religion we don't have. First, in religion we believe we must have faith even if something is not evident, like we are not seeing it, but we have to believe. Then they say without evidence you cannot believe anything. They believe those are just mysteries. Like in religion, first we create our own mysteries that there is an afterlife. Yet for them they believe there is no afterlife because they carry out research about maybe someone who has died, and when they carry out some procedures, like when someone is dead and they find out that their entire body, their brain and whatever stops functioning. So that's why for them they believe the fact that they've never found anyone who died and is back to life, alive, like back to life again. They believe there is no afterlife. They say those are all mysteries, which makes me think that, like, somehow I think first, like, religion, we create our own mysteries, like to live in that way of saying there is afterlife. I'll become rich, something. So for them they believe they are mysteries. They want you to have, for them they have this thing of, okay, they want you to believe that you're going to become rich with working. Yet for us we say, I'm going to become rich with faith. Even though you're not working, even though someone is not working, they'll be saying, I'm going to become rich. For them, you must have a good reason. You must have a good reason as to why you're going to become rich. What are you doing about it? You get? So it makes me question whether we are moving in the right path on the religious side, but.
My name is Phil. My question has been it's a question of creation. Basically, what's our beginning? Where did we start from as mankind? Because I believe that there are a number of stories or accounts given of creation. There's the biblical creation, there's evolution, there's Darwin, which is Darwin, then there's the Big Bang theory. Basically, the question comes to me that where is the balance, if there should be a balance, or which one is right? Because I believe that if we cannot believe Genesis 1 and 2 and 3, then we cannot believe the whole Bible. And if Darwin is right, then God is wrong. And if God is right, then Darwin is wrong and Big Bang is wrong. So the question is, who of the three or more are right? And how do we understand or convince ourselves and others? Thank you.
Okay, when you look at planets and planet formation and everything, when you look at how, when science is explaining how planets were formed and all that, you often wonder, the question of faith comes in. And as yet in Genesis, when they're talking about the story of creation, they say, in the beginning, God created the world and put in everything. There is nowhere where it is stipulated that they created this planet, they created Mars, they created this, they created Earth. So the question of planets and how they were given those names and how they came into existence and how, because we know that God is above there watching us, everything. But when you look at the astronauts or astronomy, they believe when they go up there, they don't see anything. Yet in the Bible, we know that God is watching, and He's watching us from all angles and everywhere. Then for tectonism, you see that these are seismic waves acting on the Earth's crust, forming different landforms. Yet still, when I refer still in Genesis, they say God created the world. He put the mountains and other creatures that are in there. But then the theory of tectonism, and they say because of those seismic waves, there's turbulence on the Earth's crust, and then landforms are formed, whether they are lakes, whether they are oceans, whether they are rivers, whether they are what. But then it is said that God created the world and put in everything that is in the world, whether they are rivers, whether they are mountains. So that is what I want to talk about.